So, welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us for today's webinar on queer competency for frontline workers supporting refugee claimants. My name is Bahar Taheri, and I'm the project consultant with the BC Refugee Hub, and I will be guiding us through today's session. I'm joining you from the unceded traditional territory of the Coquitlam First Nation, which lies within the shared territories of the Tsleil-Waututh, Katzie, Musqueam, Kakite, Squamish, and Stolo nations. It's important for me to acknowledge the lands that I'm privileged to live, work, and raise my children on as a way of showing respect and honoring the Indigenous peoples of these lands. Acknowledgement for me is a simple way of resisting the erasure of Indigenous histories and working towards honoring and inviting the truth. ISSBC's BC Refugee Hub would like to gratefully acknowledge the funding for this project from the province of British Columbia through the Ministry of Post-Secondary Education and Future Skills. Okay, so now I would like to just provide an overview of the BC Refugee Hub for those who are joining us for the first time. The BC Refugee Hub was established in 2015 by ISSBC and funded by the province of British Columbia, originally in response to the arrival of Syrian refugee families. Today, our focus is on refugee claimants through the BC Safe Haven funding that we have through the province of British Columbia. And we offer a wide range of tools, fact sheets, and training sessions to support the sector and promote services across British Columbia. The BC Refugee Hub maintains a service directory that is updated quarterly. It includes programming details and referral contacts, and it is posted on the BC Refugee Hub. And in just a minute, I will post it in the chat box as well. So everyone has access to it today as well. In addition to this, we have weekly and monthly activities that we do. So stay connected with us through our weekly updates and monthly e-newsletters. We also host regular meetings with partners such as VAS, MapBC, and AMSA, and we connect and collaborate regularly with our partners through the BC Safe Haven Network. If you have any events, services, or programs you'd like us to feature, please send them our way to refugeehub@issbc.org. I would now like to introduce Kieran Davis, who's the program specialist with the BC Safe Haven Resource Network, led by AMSA, to give us an overview of the resource network.
Thanks, Bahar. I'd like to open on the next slide with a land acknowledgement. As a provincial umbrella association, AMSA acknowledges that BC is on the unceded homelands of First Nations who have stewarded this land since time immemorial. We recognize the privilege that we have as settlers on this land and acknowledge that AMSA's operations are on the unceded traditional territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. As an organization, AMSA is committed to creating a safe space for Indigenous voices. So the BC Safe Haven Resource Network, the Safe Haven program provides key supports to refugee claimants and other humanitarian and vulnerable newcomers. The Safe Haven Resource Network is a collaboration and partnership-focused program supporting direct service providers through targeted capacity building activities. This collaboration includes multiple partner organizations who play a key role creating resources for direct service providers. The BC Safe Haven Resource Network consists of 4 initiatives, each with its own unique constellation of partners. So capacity building activities include webinars like this one, fact sheets, and many other resources, as well as supporting organizations to develop humanitarian movement plans. Our mental health activities include in-person workshops, e-learnings, and information sessions, and a phone line for frontline service providers to receive support as they work with refugee claimants. Language activities include consultations with lead Safe Haven contract organizations to create a curriculum guidelines for Safe Haven language instruction in classrooms. And then our public support gathering arm is engaged through ACES, AMSA's charitable arm, in partnership with United Way to build community support for refugee claimants, including public awareness, donations, volunteerism, and other community-based supports and initiatives. And finally, please connect with AMSA on LinkedIn, Facebook, and X, formerly Twitter. Visit our website at www.amsa.org for many resources, e-learnings, and recent reports. Thanks, and back to you, Bahar.
Thanks, Kieran. So we will get started with our first presentation today. I'm excited to welcome our first speakers, Rana Nu and Chare Kojit from Rainbow Refugee, an organization that advocates with and for LGBTQIA plus refugee claimants and newcomers. They're going to share their experiences and insights working directly with refugee claimant newcomers. Welcome.
Thank you, Bahar. Yeah, I would like to, on behalf of Rainbow Refugee, to respectfully acknowledge that we live and work on the traditional and unceded territories of Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. And I would like to briefly introduce myself. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for being here today. My name is Rana. I use she and they pronouns. I work with Rainbow Refugee as the Housing and Support Coordinator. Today, I'm very excited to share about our programs, me and my colleague Chare, who will be introducing themselves in a minute, and explore how we can all contribute to creating a safer environment and safer and welcoming environment for LGBTQ plus newcomers as they navigate transition and settlement here in Canada. I'll pass it to you, Chare, to introduce yourself.
Thank you, Rana. Hi, everyone. I'm also very excited to be with you today. My name is Chare. I'm the Inland Program Coordinator at Rainbow Refugee Society. I've been in this role more than 3 years now. I'm overseeing our inland program, which provides legal support. And I'm also happy and excited to share our experience to create safer and inclusive environment for all LGBTQ refugee claimants.
So we're going to share now briefly about the programs both Chare and I run. So I coordinate Time to Thrive program, which was created in response to the complex and compounded challenges experienced by the LGBTQ plus refugee newcomers and this program is very much community-centered program that address specific needs through trauma-informed approach, empowerment, and deep commitment to dignity.
And the Inland program is one of the 2 legal support initiatives at Rainbow Refugee. Our other program is the sponsorship program, which we're not going to talk about it, but it oversees the LGBTQI plus refugee resettlement in Canada. But the Inland program, on the other hand, is specifically designed for LGBTQI plus asylum seekers, refugee claimants who are currently in British Columbia and making refugee claim based on SOGS and or HIV status persecution. So our support for LGBTQ refugee claimants covers entire refugee determination process, from connecting them with the legal aid, legal representation, applying for legal aid, assisting them through the Refugee Protection Division hearings. So mentioning SOGS, and before diving into queer competency, how we can create a queer competent environment or how we can create queer competent practices, let's talk about what is SOGS, what is SOGS persecution, to better understand the struggle. So SOGS stands for sexual orientation, gender identity, gender expression, and sex characteristics. It's a term used to encompass the broad range of diverse identities, experiences related to sexuality and gender. Sexual orientation refers to an individual's emotional, romantic, or sexual attraction to other individuals. This can include attractions towards people of same gender, like homosexuality, different gender, heterosexuality, or multiple genders, bisexuality, or pansexuality. However, gender identity is a person's internal sense of their own gender, which may be different from the sex assigned to them at birth. For example, someone assigned female at birth and may identify as male, which is a trans man, or non-binary, genderqueer, or any other gender identity. Gender expression is actually, there is a nuance between gender identity and gender expression. Gender expression is not necessarily anything to do with the gender identity itself, but it is rather how an individual outwardly presents their gender to the world through clothing, behavior, other forms of expressions. This can include traditional masculine or feminine traits or mix of both, regardless of individual sex or gender identity. A cis gay man who assign as male at birth and identify as man still identify as men as a gender identity, but their gender expression could be very feminine. So that's why it shouldn't be mixed with the gender identity. How the sex characteristics refer to physical characteristic to determine biological sex, such as the chromosomes, hormones, reproductive organs. Intersex individuals may have variation in these characteristics that do not fit the physical definition of male or female. LGBTQI stands for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and intersex. These terms are used to describe individuals who belong to diverse sexual orientation and gender identities. The queer is an umbrella term that encompasses a range of non-heteronormative sexual orientation and gender identities. It was a word that uncertain origin that had entered the English language by early 16th century, when it was primarily used to mean strange or peculiar or eccentric, like basically to ridicule the gay men. By the late 19th century, it was being used colloquially to refer to same-sex attracted men. So it's important to remember that these identities are fluid and can vary among individuals. Understanding and respecting the LGBTQ community is essential in creating more inclusive and diverse services. So how mentioning what is SOGX, what is the different identities and orientation as an organization supporting LGBTQ refugee claimants. I want to give a little bit about information about the SOGX persecution. So SOGX persecution refers to discrimination and violence directed towards individuals based on their sexual orientation, gender identity, expression, and sex characteristics. This persecution can occur at various levels, ranging from family unit to state. At the family level, individuals who do not conform to societal norms regarding their subjects may face rejection, exclusion, even violence from their family members. This can lead emotional, psychological harm, as well as physical danger for the individuals. On a larger scale, the states may also perpetuate SOGS persecution through the discriminatory laws, policies. This can include criminalizing same-sex relationships, denying legal recognition of gender identities, and failing to protect individuals from violence and the discrimination based on their SOGS. State-sanctioned persecution can have devastating consequences for individuals, including imprisonment, torture, and even death. But sometimes the persecution can also come from the society. For example, in the example of Brazil, there is a protection for against hate crimes against LGBTQIA plus people. But in the reality, Brazil leads the world in the number of the most hate murders against transgender people. Similarly, in Mexico, there is same-sex marriage is legal. There is a state protection against the hate crimes and LGBTQI plus people. But at the same time, Mexico is second to Brazil in the hate murders against transgender people. So understanding this SOGS persecution, we can better advocate for the rights and protection of the individuals. I'm just gonna basically touch in the intersectionality as well before we start talking about the queer competency. Intersectionality also plays a huge role creating challenges for LGBTQ refugee claimants in Canada. First of all, intersectionality is a concept that recognizes the individuals can face multiple forms of discrimination or oppression based on their intersection identities, such as race, gender, sexuality, or socioeconomic statuses. For LGBTQ refugees in Canada, intersectionality acknowledge the unique challenges they may face as a result, not only for their sexual orientation or gender identity, but also their refugee status, their nationality, or the other factors. So by understanding and addressing these intersecting forms of the discrimination and policies, services can be made more inclusive and supportive for LGBTQI plus refugee claimants. So how we can do that? So I'll pass it on to Rana to give us some example.
Thank you, Cherry. So yeah, thank you for like giving that kind of concept understanding about like all the layers of like gender identity and like intersectionality that plays a big role in the multiple challenges that newcomers could, like LGBTQ plus newcomers, like could face when arriving to country here in Canada. So giving like brief example of like, can you think of like imagine arriving to a country like Canada alone, traumatized from coming from a war, or like coming from a place where you are being persecuted based on just your how you present yourself in the to the world, how you like based on your sexual orientation, and like you literally could be harmed based on those, and then you're not sure whom to trust here. And one of our members like shared with us that they were afraid to go to a shelter because people from their home country were there, so they didn't feel themselves, they couldn't feel safe there. Like even arriving here and trying to be in a house or in a shelter, like to start a life here, they were another layer for them, because like those are the same people. And I personally, I would relate, like I'm a Middle Eastern. I remember arriving here at some point, like when the member shared this with me, I was like, I absolutely relate to that. Like every time when I access any service, especially like at the beginning, I went like to ISS of BC, and there were a lot of Middle Eastern there. And the minute I see other Middle Eastern who are not necessarily from the community LGBTQ, but yet I was instantly triggered, because like in my like back home I was always I was persecuted by my people. So coming here and like meeting more Middle Eastern people was like something did not make me feel safe at all. So that's another layer for people. Sometimes you wouldn't get it right away. So these daily fears and micro decisions definitely drains emotional energy and heighten vulnerability. So I want to talk a little bit about Time to Thrive program approach and guiding principles. So what we offer in Time to Thrive, we have a weekly walk-in sessions where we foster belonging, emotional expressions, and resilience. People can drop by every week, and we can give more details, logistic details later. We navigate support for housing, healthcare, food. It's a peer-led space. There's a lot of volunteers from the community who are like also newcomers and helping to volunteer and support those walk-in sessions. We do referrals to affirming services for mental health and medical, and obviously we do advocacy for supporting refugees, newcomers in navigating shelters and different service providers. And like 4 main guiding principles for our program are trauma-informed care, where understanding the impact of the trauma and what people, the packages, like people arriving with full packages of trauma and fear and persecution. We lead by community engagement, so centering those with lived experience. Most of, like I would say 95% of the people work in and offering service at Rainbow Refugee, we are coming with our lived experience. So that's something like help people to relate and feel seen and sense of belonging. safety and dignity, ensuring emotional and physical and cultural safety, and always there's flexibility and trust building. We always move on the pace of the members and newcomers. And I will pass it to you, Chari.
Thank you, Rana. And I'll talk about a little bit about the inland program and similarly our guiding principles. So at the inland program, we offer accessible, no appointment required weekly walk-ins support, so refugee claimants can come when they need assistance without the barrier of scheduling ahead. So we provide guidance on how to initiate a refugee claim based on SOGIESC and HIV status persecution. We help navigate the complex refugee determination process in Canada, ensuring claimants understand each step along the way. So in addition, we make referrals to the essential local resources, such as legal aid, radio tours before their refugee protection hearing, and connect the claimants, our members, we call them members, so with the lawyers who are experienced and competent in LGBTQI plus refugee cases. Of course, the purpose of connecting them with LGBT competent refugee cases, lawyers, the legal success of the case, but at the same time, having the experience working with the refugee cases on SOGIESC persecution gives lawyers a better understanding the challenges that LGBTQI plus community faces. So that's the other reason to create more trauma-informed choices there. So one of our core services is also offering one-on-one support throughout the entire refugee process, like initial claim filing through the hearings. We also host bi-weekly virtual information session focusing on the process before the hearing, like how to get ready for the refugee protection hearing, and also focusing on the post-hearing process, which including how to apply PR, travel documents, citizenship, do's and don'ts, rights and responsibilities of conventional refugees, how to include their family members in their PR application. So our approach is, beside the 4 key elements that Rana already shared, that I'm not going to repeat them, but also in the inland program, we also have some guiding principles for us. Like, first of all, the eliminating barriers. By providing both virtual and in-person support options, we can ensure access regardless of circumstance. Yes, one of the reasons that we provide support across BC, so this providing virtual support can enable us to connect with people in northern BC. We have like members in interior BC, northern BC, on the island. So yes, that's one of the reasons. The other reasons, as you may guess, that sometimes coming in person walk-ins or gatherings, it's really hard for refugee claimants, because refugee claimants cannot get their work permit until they pass their eligibility interview. So until that point, they do not have work permits, so they rely on the income assistance, and income assistance is very limited, small amount of resource that really prevent refugee claimants to, or force refugee claimants make choices sometimes. Should I get a bus pass or should I get food? So that's why it's the other reasons to creating virtual sessions, but also specifically creating the queer competent services. Providing virtual support option is also enable us to eliminate the barrier, especially for trans and gender diverse folks, because most of our members, after coming to Canada, they start their gender affirming care and transitioning, accessing the gender affirming healthcare services. And this actually brings a lot of body dysphoria for trans and gender diverse folks. And that's why there is a like trauma-informed decision here to provide those virtual sessions, because most of the time, because of the trauma being triggered in the society with a gender expression that not really represent their gender identity, just force them not to leave home simply. So that's why we provide them the virtual option, so they can, in a safer and a welcoming space, can communicate with us and get the support. The second guiding principle is the empowerment. We develop self-advocacy tools so claimant can confidently represent themselves, like how to communicate with their lawyer, how to communicate IRCC, how to submit their documents to IRB before the refugee hearing. The purpose here, of course, to provide them with the valuable information, but also in our experience at Rainbow Refugee, 99% of our members going through the refugee claim and their claim result with a positive decision. So almost 99% of our members have their refugee protection, and they'll be part of this community, this society. So empowering them, we provide them with the skills, not only just the information, but with the skills that they can take ownership of their life in their journey forward in Canada. So we want them to be independent, not dependent on us. And of course, the climate-centered approach, prioritizing trust, understanding over curiosity, creating a safer space that individuals share their stories. So our overall goal to support LGBTQ refugee claims every step of the way, ensuring they feel supported, informed, and empowered through their refugee journey. So let's a little bit dive into the best practices for the service providers for us, and I'll pass it on to Rana to give us some example.
Yeah, I'll start with the first three. So talking about building trust, no, sorry, using inclusive language, pronouns, and chosen names. Why this matters, using someone's correct pronouns and chosen name affirms their identity and shows respect. It also creates a more welcoming and validating environment, especially for trans and non-binary folks who often face misgendering. So the best practice for this for how to show this in practice, let's say, introduce yourself with your pronouns and invite others to share their to share their pronouns if they wish, and try to update forms and intakes procedures to include fields that for pronouns and chosen names. Second one is don't assume, let people share what's relevant for them. This matters because like assumptions about someone's identity, experience, or needs can lead to discomfort or even harm. The way we practice this is like always ask open-ended questions, avoid making assumptions based on appearance, accent, or documentation, and allow individuals to share personal information if and when they feel safe and ready. Third one, we building trust slowly, show up consistently. This matters because many LGBTQ plus newcomers, refugees have faced betrayal, discrimination, or violence in the past systems. So trust isn't automatic. It doesn't come like by default. Isn't earned. It's earned through reliability and respect. So we can do this by being consistent in our presence, follow through on what you promised, and prioritize transparency, acknowledge when mistakes happen, and repair trust actively. I'll pass it to you, Chari, to kind of go to the second three points.
Yes. Thank you, Rana. And the fourth point is creating safer spaces. So this can include displaying inclusive signage. For example, do you have your pronouns in your email signature? Do you wear a rainbow pin? Or like, do you have a rainbow flag on your office wall or a space? Do you have an art piece that represent the queer community? Like I personally share this that back in 2022, we had a collective artwork with our members with an actual artist that draft the artwork, but our members created the rest of the artwork with their refugee identities and most importantly with their queer identities with all the colors of the rainbow. And we have that art piece in our meeting spaces. And then every time we have a new member, they were drawn to the art piece and they shared with me like how felt seen and visible with this artwork. So it can signal the safety immediately, or also providing staff training on LGBTQ issues, ensuring access to universal or non-gendered bathrooms if it's possible in your offices. This physical and cultural changes signal that environment is welcoming. And the other point is offering flexibility whenever possible, avoiding rigid ID or gender requirements that may exclude or stigmatize individuals. Flexibility helps meet the claimants where they are and then respect their identities. Lastly, connecting with LGBTQI plus organizations like Rainbow Refugee, including ourselves, these organizations can offer valuable resources, referrals, and consultation to ensure your service delivery is culturally competent and affirming for the LGBTQ refugees and refugee claimants. I'll pass it on to Rana again to start us for the welcoming spaces to talk about that.
Thank you, Tara. So in order to create welcoming space and we can do some collaborating together. I'm going to start with the how we what does it mean to create actually a welcoming space. It's beyond us being safe. People want to feel they belong as well. So for folks seeing representations, staff who understand or share their experience, like people with, as I mentioned before, people in the space, whether staff members or volunteers, majority of the folks are like coming with lived experience. So even if we're coming from different backgrounds, but there's a lot of similarity when it comes to like the experience of being rejected, persecuted, disowned by your family, by your people from back home, that you lost your support system completely. You're coming here, so seeing representation, seeing people that like have very similar experience, that like went through a similar process, that gives them that kind of sense of belonging. Second one is the having voice and agency is also like involving community members. As we said, like the way our programs designed is like always we having volunteers who are coming from the community, LGBTQ community, mostly newcomers who are volunteering their time. They wanna it feels for them that they want to be part of this process, supporting other LGBTQ newcomer member, offer their compassion and share their experience and share the resources and like part of the journey they went through, and like what worked well for them, what did not work for them. And that's itself like feels like also create a deeper sense of belonging. And lastly is feeling seen, heard, and supported without being judged based on your experience. Because you arrive here and you feel like, who am I here today? I'm like need to start from scratch. I'm building my name. People doesn't know how to pronounce my name here. And people like no matter how much experience we arrive with here, it feels like the system here built in a way that you're always asked like, but do you have Canadian experience? But do you know something about the Canadian culture? And people feel like, but I know so much, and it feels like whatever experience you come with, it's like it doesn't matter anymore, and you need to kind of completely wipe that out and like kind of jump in and like fit in immediately. So creating spaces where you feel seen, acknowledged, respected, is definitely something help folks to kind of reconnect with themselves and like bringing their best version of themselves to the space. I'll pass it to you, Charin.
Thank you, Rana. Thank you for going through what actually meaning being safe and feeling belong to. I'll just add one more thing, like seeing the representation This is my personal experience with one of our members that are and also one of the things that creating like avoiding the barriers that we are aware that we are actually using the colonized language here, which is the English, and then we are coming from different like the refugee claimants coming from different backgrounds, from different cultures, and then the language that is available, the LGBTQ plus language that is available here isn't English. That doesn't necessarily mean that it delivers the understanding or the representation for them. Like we supported a member a while ago, and the one of our one-on-one support, they shared with me that like because I'm a non-binary person, I always start the conversation with the like I go by they them, I'm a non-binary person, and then our member asked me like what does actually mean, and when I explained the what's the meaning of non-binary, they were actually identified themselves bisexual, but they thought that bisexual was being non-binary. So that's why like the language is English, and then it's not necessarily always deliver the meaning or the representation for them. So always being the example, and it creates them, they actually feel more represented and they belong. So that was my personal sharing with the topic itself. But I'll go through like invite us to collaborate with you. So we would love to partner with you at Rainbow Refugee in several meaningful ways. You can, first of all, you can refer the LGBTQIA plus refugee claimants who may need support during their refugee process. Our team is here to provide the specialized assistance, whatever they require with the refugee claim or community support. And additionally, we offer community training sessions that you and your staff can attend. These trainings are designed to increase understanding, build capacity, and ensure that your services are inclusive and affirming. You can also work with us to make physical and organizational spaces more welcoming, whether through inclusive signage, staff training, policy updates. Like small changes can significantly impact how safe and supported claimants feel. And also personal experience, like wearing a rainbow lanyard that one of our members were like shared with me. This is also a while ago. We have weekly walk-ins, as I mentioned. It's the space that some of our members, the first time they've been in Rainbow Refugee offices, like the first time they're communicating and contacted with us in person. And this specific member told me that he was actually hesitant to walk inside, but seeing the rainbow flag on the desk and then the rainbow lanyard on my neck, they find the courage themselves to step into. They felt safe enough. So that's why these small changes can significantly impact how safe and supported the LGBTQ refugee claimants feel. So our collective goal is to create this systems and environments where LGBTQ refugee claimants aren't just surviving, but truly thriving. By working together, we can build a community that affirms and uplift their identities and experiences. So thank you for your commitment to fostering inclusive and supporting supportive spaces. And we can make a real difference in the lives of LGBTQ plus refugees by working together.
Okay, amazing. Thank you. And we will move to our next presentation. And so I would like to introduce the team from MOSAIC's I Belong program. We have Ricardo Velez and Susie Sharaf presenting. And this program offers a welcoming, inclusive space for LGBTQIA refugee claimants and newcomers. And they are also topic experts in this area and have been providing the I Belong program for many, many years. So I will pass it over to you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Susie Sharaf, pronouns I go by she and her. I am the 2S LGBTQ support worker with I Belong program at MOSAIC. I'm joined today by my colleague Ricardo, and we are really honored to be here. And thank you to Bahar and to the team for inviting us to be part of this important conversation. And before we begin, we want to acknowledge that we are speaking from the unceded traditional territories of Musqueam, Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh Nation. We honor and respect the ongoing relationship the indigenous people have with these lands, and we are committed to truth, reconciliation, and solidarity. Today, we will give you an overview of our work by supporting the 2S LGBTQIA, refugee claimants, and newcomers, what we do, who we serve, and what we have learned along the way.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Susie. Okay, my name is Ricardo Valles. I am a support worker along with Susie here at the I Belong program. Our program is a free settlement support program specifically for 2S LGBTQ plus community, newcomers, refugee claimants. We are based in Vancouver and we are part of MOSAIC, which is one of the largest settlement organizations within Canada. And we offer services. We try not just to focus on the paperwork. We try to work on the emotional, social, and practical support for our members. And it's important to say that our program has three founders. One is IRCC, the other one is Transcare BC, and also one of our founders is Rainbow Foundation of Hope.
As you know, for the newcomers in general, facing a difficult settlement journey, like language barriers, housing shortage, and navigating a new system. But when it comes to the LGBTQIA newcomers, they deal with added layers of trauma, fleeing persecution, being rejected by a family or community, and often mistrusting services.
Yes, as Susie said, they might experience racism, transphobia, homophobia, and sometimes even in the safe spaces in organizations, they can not feel safe because sometimes service providers still are not queer competent or trauma informed, which might be harmful for members or clients.
And here, how we try to bridge those gaps. First, we offer one-on-one support. That means we sit with the clients to work through, for example, if the client's looking for housing support, we work with them through the housing search, job application, government application, citizenship forms, income assistance, and more. It's a personal and a trauma-informed.
Yes, and besides our one-on-one sessions, we also provide group sessions weekly. Every Monday, we host group sessions, but we have different groups. The first Monday of the month, we have Peer Support Cafe, which is for all the community, all our members. They come, we gather here, we talk about the problems and the situations we are facing, and we provide resources for them. Also, we try to make the group session fun. We have activities, play games, and play music. And also we have counseling sessions. We work with two clinical counselors. One of them is in the second Monday of the month, and then in the third Monday, we have art expressive group session.
Yes. And for the art, for expressive art therapy session, that facilitated by a queer expressive art therapist and counselor. It's a safe and creative space where the members can explore identity, belonging, and healing through the arts. Participants do drawing, collage, clay work, writing, movement, and music. And they don't need to have experience, just willingness to express themselves and connect with the others. We provide all the materials, also refreshment, snacks, and it's always one of our emotional, powerful group.
Mhm. Yeah, and another key group that we run is Beyond Borders and Binaries. This is the last Monday of the month. And since we work and we are founded by Transcare BC, we run this group for the trans and non-binary folks, and we share resources with them. We do referrals when clients are looking for hormone therapy, gender affirming surgeries.
Yeah.
And yeah, we try to have these group sessions to give them the safe space to trip.
Yeah, and in our sessions also, sometimes we host guest speakers, and for example, like we host health navigators from Transcare BC when they deliver all the updates regarding the gender affirming care to our members. And we are all the time, we are proud to celebrate our members' story. All these stories coming from our members. We have here one of the members, Kiara, a trans newcomer from Latin America, and through I Belong program, she found housing, community, and now speaks openly about her story. It's published on MOSAIC's website.
Yes, another success story that is posted in MOSAIC website is Tios, who shared how he finally found belonging and safety through the program. And these aren't just like individual success, this is like a group and program success. And as them, many of others members has been reaching their goals and showing the growth here in Canada. I think Bahar will support us later, posting these links so you can go through these success stories.
Yes, and through our group sessions, we do celebrate along with our members. Like last year, this year, we had celebration for Transgender Day of Visibility. We gather all the members. They come all together from the community. They celebrate the gender identity. They express themselves. Even though we do a track show from our member where they were able to perform. And also, we participate in the community events, the big events. Also, we are there.
Yes. Yeah, actually, we will be very active this summertime. We are planning a field trip, a summer picnic at the Stanley Park with our members. We also be marching at the Pride Parade in August. So yeah, we are trying very often to do these extra activities for them besides our group sessions that I already have every week. And yeah, we also are very open to collaborate. We work closely with Rainbow Refugee, and we are open to collaborate with other organizations. And yeah, also, as Susie said, we have a speaker guests sometimes. So if you wanna come and be part of our group sessions, you are more than welcome.
Yes, and our program actually, and we support all the LGBTQ newcomers, refugees, regardless of their immigration status.
Yes. Okay, and this is our information. This is the email of the I Belong program. The phone call you can reach if you need more information. It's important to say that we offer services in English, Arabic, Spanish, and Somali. And even if there's another language, since MOSAIC is a big organization, we have support from other settlement workers that might speak other languages. And also we have in MOSAIC interpretation program. So yeah, we have options to serve in different languages.
Yes, and we are really grateful as a community members to Mosaic for putting all these effort to support our community and giving us this space.
And thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Mhm.
Thank you. Thanks for your presentation. It's always good to know what programs are out there and especially what supports and services you're offering to the LGBTQIA plus community. And I will just move on to my couple of last closing slides. So if everyone could bear with me for a couple more minutes. So thank you, everyone, as I mentioned, for your continued work with refugees and refugee claimants, both in our audience and our presenters as well. Big thanks to the province of British Columbia for your support and funding. Also, here is the link to our e-newsletter. You can use the QR code on the screen, or you can go to our website, bcrefugeehub.ca, and scroll to the very bottom, and that's where you can join our e-newsletter list. We usually send a newsletter a month, so it's not too many, and we just put all the important information in that one e-newsletter. And I believe that's our last slide. Big thanks to the BC Safe Haven Resource Network and AMSA and Kieran and Sabrina. And yeah, and our partners at MAP BC and VAST. Thank you everyone for joining us and have a great afternoon. And it's cloudy here. So hopefully it's sunny where you are. Bye everyone.